to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please all remain standing for a second? We're meeting tonight almost on the anniversary, just one day off, of the death of our late, beloved, former police chief, Stephen McCarthy. So we remember Steve and his family for the extraordinary work he gave to Red Bank for all of his adult life. And even though we mourn his loss, his presence is still with us. So we pray that his soul guide us as we continue public service and protect the police department. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Taylor?
Here.
Councilman Whalen?
Here.
Councilman Yingstrom?
Here.
Councilman Ballard?
Here.
Councilman Zipridge?
Here.
Councilwoman Horde? Here.
Okay, we're all present. Sunshine State, please.
By the mention reflected in compliance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act, the notice of this meeting has been provided by notifying the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger, but placing the notice on the bulletin board and filing same with the Borough Clerk on January 1, 2018.
Thank you. Is there a motion to suspend the regular order? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have two matters, and I'm going to move another matter up to suspended order. First is the Board of Education and Community Relations presentation. I believe Mr. Levetti is here. Board of Education member, welcome. Tom.
Test it. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for allowing us a few moments of your time tonight. I want to share some important news about a process the schools have undertaken and invite you, as well as all members of our community, to be part of it. As a member of the Board of Education and as the father of two children currently in our schools, I have had a ringside seat, a dad's eye view of what it means to teach our children to dream big and how inspiring it is for all of us to be part of an organization with the best in America mindset. The best in America don't rest on their laurels. Our district has been on the receiving end of some amazing accolades from educators, from state politicians on both sides of the aisle, recognition from the financial community, and the feedback we've received from the parents in our community. But we strive to be better. That's why I'm happy to announce we have set out to develop and implement a new strategic plan for our district. This summer, Dr. Rummage, Dr. Stone, and I met with top consultants from the education community who frankly clamored at the chance to work with our district. We were able to pick from the best of the best and still negotiate a great deal. The board would like to invite all of you, as well as those in our community that have an interest in helping to make our schools better, to attend a community reflection session on Monday, October 8th at the primary school from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Our partner, Education Resources NJ, will be conducting the session along with our administration. ERNJ will ask us all to reflect on our strengths, challenges, opportunities, and weaknesses, and threats. Knowing these will help us to formulate our strategic plan. Honestly, this type of community reflection works best when we have as much input from the community as possible. The goal remains BIA. To get there requires even more hard work, and we need all of our community partners' involvement to get it done. So please join us on Monday, October 8th at the primary school and be part of this really, I think, a super important process. So I hope to see you all there. And I'm here joined tonight by two fellow members of the Community Relations Committee, Ann Amato and Sue Visconti. The time starts at 5:30 p.m. And I believe, Ann, do we have I have the handouts here, so some handouts to give you about the event. I hope to see everyone there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Dr. Stone, as well as the board members, have been for us, as well as students going for being here. Thank you. Next, we have the second item, which is the capital review by River Center for English Plaza. Mr. Scavone.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just kind of as way of introduction, you may all remember that about a year and a half ago, or a year ago, River Center was granted a zero-interest loan from the DCA. And that loan is to be used for an improvement project to English Plaza and to White Street from Broad Street to English Plaza. So just that small section of White Street. Part of the money that we received from the DCA was to be used for the planning and development of that project. So we embarked on a search for an engineer and design firm, and we are very happy to report that we came upon Ingenuity Infrastructure right here in Red Bank on Broad Street. They have done extensive work with us so far, and we are here tonight to present to you where we are and to go through this capital review process. So I'm going to call up Jackie Floor from Ingenuity, who's going to lead you through the presentation. I would just like to point out that we have Steve Rossetti, who's the chairman of our Visual Improvement Committee, who's been instrumental in this process so far, along with a couple of our other committee members, Val Alfiero and Carl DeAngelis, here with us tonight too. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Jackie because she's way more interesting than I am. There you go.
Thank you, Jim. Mayor and council, thank you so much for having us this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and put up a few boards. These boards will be faced towards the council, and then we also have the presentation over here. I don't know if I should turn it towards you or if it's okay to leave that towards the public. Is that
Is
okay?
the same presentation that they received?
Yes, it is. All right. Okay, so perfect. So just to introduce what the boards are, this is the proposed layout. This is the existing conditions, so that you can see the difference. And then over there are the amenities. So I'm going to go ahead and start the PowerPoint. That's okay. So basically, we started with the project goals. The goals were established in collaboration with the Red Bank River Center and the Borough of Red Bank. And so ultimately, the goals for White Street and English Plaza are not only to improve the safety, and the lighting is substandard in the lot, multimodal circulation, a lot of people walking within the parking area and not enough room for vehicular circulation, but to also address the tripping hazards and the ponding. Also improved multimodal access, not just for the vehicles, but also for pedestrians and for all users, as well as there's double parking and there's challenges with loading. Improved aesthetics to make the area more inviting, to make it a place that people want to come in order to frequent the businesses, and also an area that can be programmed for events, including seating areas, pavement treatments, areas for public art. We also looked at one of the goals as environmental performance, shade trees, green infrastructure, incorporating LED lighting, economic viability to increase the foot traffic, to make the area more viable, to be able to program it and allow it to be an area for entertainment and for sales and events. And all of these things are to advance the goal of making Red Bank a destination to work, live, dine, and play. So how did we do that? We looked at balancing the entire Red Bank community, the residents, businesses, and also the environmental performance. We really believe that if you balance all of those things, you get the optimum solution. So the way we did that was we did one-on-one stakeholder interviews with 24 different stakeholders. These stakeholders represented your entire Red Bank community. They included the Red Bank River Center, their visual improvement and streetscape improvement committees, members of their staff and board of trustees. We also interviewed the borough administrator, council committee chairs for DPU as well as parking. We interviewed Cliff, the DPU director, the fire marshal, code enforcement, parking utility, the chief, the borough engineer, the environmental commission, the Shade Tree Commission, the historic preservation commission. We had resident representatives and business representatives. We really tried to encompass the entire community to get feedback. And we listened. We took the time to listen to what everybody had to say and to try to figure out how we can incorporate all of those great ideas in order to create a space that the entire community would want to see move forward. So there were 24 one-on-one stakeholder interviews, all documented. You can see the copies of the comments if you'd like to. There were 3 meetings with the Red Bank Vic. We had a property owners meeting right here. You can see at Two River Theater, the property owners meeting that we had. where we gathered more feedback, and that was from the property owners that abutted the project area. And we also had a meeting with JCP&L where we walked the area with JCP&L, and we also met with the utility companies to gather their feedback as well, and to see how we could collaborate and find ways to work together within the lot and White Street. And then we also obtained title for all the properties. We vetted multiple concepts. We took all that feedback and we created it into 6 concepts. And we vetted those concepts with the various stakeholders. Ultimately, one alternative was chosen. You can see the alternative there. We had multiple concepts. Some were all perpendicular layouts. Some were a combination of perpendicular and angled. But ultimately, what we heard was a combination of people wanted to really balance out the space, but they thought it was very important to have a wide connection that connected Riverside Gardens the whole way over to Monmouth Street. So as you can see, on the east side of the lot, we have a lot of the parking, but on the west side of the lot, we take that walkway and we enhance it and keep it a nice wide walkway. And by moving the entrance to the White Street lot to align with English Plaza, we're able to almost, I think someone said follow the yellow brick road, although it would be a red brick road, to be able to follow that from Riverside Gardens the whole way to the brick path that runs right next to the Dublin House, so that you could go the whole way over to Monmouth Street. So it really provided a connection, a pedestrian connection that we thought really enhanced the area. And so ultimately, when we looked at the different layouts, it was equally important to increase the parking and increase the balance of the space to make it programmable, but also to provide those connections so that you got that economic viability aspect as well. And so these are some of the amenities that were vetted. So if you look at the red area, which are on both slides right now, the one that's facing you as well as the slide, that's a parking area. But what we did was, what we heard was this wanted to be more than just a parking lot. As you program and use the White Street lot for certain events and certain festivals, you now have another option of space that you could also program. Right in that center area, you could tent that area and use it for farm markets or events. And if you look at the wide area, which is typically for vehicular circulation, that works for people to also circulate that tented area in the middle. It's a wide open space that can be programmed. The other thing we heard was over on White Street, there was a lot of feedback that says maybe you close that narrow area once a month for events. Not every day, but maybe once a month. And since it's a narrow area from Broad Street, up into the entryway to the first lot, that you could program that space and we would provide a different pavement treatment in that area to make it look and feel different and be more inviting. And then you can also see that pedestrian connection that goes through. We also heard a lot of feedback about the area behind Starbucks between Quicksilver, making that a seating area so people can take their coffee and come and sit down. And the same thing over near Emmanuel Court, right at that easterly entranceway, to close that off and make that a seating area so that those businesses on West Front Street could have a place that they could be viable as well, where people could take their food and come and sit down. Because that access is very narrow, so there was a lot of feedback that closed that off. And so this is what we heard, and this is how we incorporated it. For improved safety, we heard that everyone wanted to see improved lighting, and so we increased the lighting. We provided better circulation for cars and pedestrians. We made the crosswalks more visible and the stop bars and the lane markings. We replaced the deteriorated sidewalk, the curbs, the pavement, improved drainage, eliminated angles and blind spots. There were comments on the drains needed to be upgraded near the liquor store and also over near Trattoria, so we'll be improving the drainage there as well. Adding bollards, restriping loading areas so that there's not the double parking that occurs, and also putting bump outs on White Street, where right now it's very narrow, extending that a little bit so people can't double park in the very narrow portion. Raising those curbs to 6 inches on White Street so people don't pull up onto the curb. Adding seating for aging population, adding hydrant access. There's actually a hydrant that we made sure with the fire chief to make sure that with the fire marshal that you could get to both sides of the hydrant. And then making sure we didn't block any of the overhead fire escapes, and closing the alley for better safety, and including bike racks. The borough engineer was also met with, and she's going to pursue talking to the county about improvements to the crosswalk on West Front Street to connect to that pedestrian connection, as well as adding drainage on West Front Street where it often ponds and freezes. For goal 2, what we heard was for multimodal access, we were able to also increase the parking. People wanted to see more parking spaces. So we were able to get an increase of 7 spaces between English Plaza and White Street, and then we found that we could potentially add 4 to 5 more spaces if we were to look further up White Street where the theater and the old firehouse used to be. We aligned the ingress and egress between English Plaza and White Street, improved vehicular circulation, and provided a safe connection for pedestrians from Riverside Garden to Monmouth Street. We provided options for pedestrians to walk if they didn't want to walk in the drive aisle, and we provided loading zones and accessibility. We looked at the aesthetics and made the area more inviting. Everything from street furniture to curb extensions, programming the space, parking stations, improved pavement, shade trees, and locations for public art and pedestrian level lighting. And then also with the aesthetics is we heard in the alley areas to maybe stream the lights and to add something that made it feel like a pedestrian space. And so we're looking at that for the area behind Starbucks as well as the area on Emmanuel Court, finding ways to really enhance the space with some different lighting improvements as well. We're also going to look at options for putting things on the walls, whether it be murals or pictures, and that will be done and programmed separately by River Center. Probably not bid under the project, but something that came out of the listening phase. And the other thing that came out of the listening phase were locations for murals. We identified those locations, but they won't be part of the bid because we don't want to open mural, but they would be programmed separately by Red Bank River Center. And then also treatments to the pavement, looking at different ways to enhance the pavement. Everything from cobblestone or brick to different types of treatment that could include even pavement art. And that will be decided as we go forward for that narrow section of White Street. And so, in summary, for the improved aesthetics, everything from street furniture to lighting, benches, overhead alley lighting, and possibly even some colored lights during the holidays for the different holidays and pavement treatments. And the items that will be included in separate projects, as mentioned, would be the murals that would be handled separately, and locations for public sculpture. So environmental performance, we reduced the impervious area in the lot. We added more green space and landscaping, more shade. The LED lights also add environmental performance, and we had the brick pavers without a concrete bed, so that that's also a little less pervious than it would be. And then options for electric car charging stations. And the viability, we encourage the foot traffic for businesses with that wide inviting walkway that extends from Riverside Gardens the whole way over to Monmouth Street. Added convenient, well-circulated parking areas, options for event space, different areas that could be programmed. It enables a design that the businesses can promote their back entrances if they wish to. We could close White Street from time to time for events. It was tested at the property owners meeting, and the property owners as stakeholders all were interested in that idea. And we address sign pollution by using license plate recognition in lieu of numbering the stalls. And then we balance the function and environmental performance to make the area feel safe and inviting. And all of these things advance the goal of making Red Bank a destination to work, live, dine, and play. The entire project accomplishes the goal. It balances the needs of the residents, the businesses, and the environment. It honors the past and looks to the future. And it was a community-based approach that the Red Bank River Center is very proud of. So we're open for questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good presentation. Any members of the council have any questions at this point?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to compliment Jackie. This is actually the second time I've sat through this presentation, but the entire executive committee and the board at River Center is really proud of this project, as am I. I think you guys have done a really wonderful job at community outreach to make sure that you interviewed people and took great consideration into the amount of data that you're collecting from not only the business community but the public at large. So thank you very much.
And again, what Ed has referenced is the extraordinary efforts that River Center as a quasi-government institution has undertaken, and since its founding. So there are critics out there, but I'd like to point out that this project would not have been done without the initiative, the wherewithal, the creativity, as well as the funding of River Center. So that benefits all of our community, not just the downtown. And that's an extraordinary example, not just in this incident, but for the past 20 years of the project that River Center has engaged for all of our community. So thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I know you've increased the impervious surfaces with a lot of green space in there, but were you able to look into whether any of the stalls would be impervious as well?
We
impervious
did look,
asphalt?
we did look into that. The turnover rate in the public lots would cause the maintenance cycle for the impervious pavement within a parking stall. We don't think it would hold up as long, so so the way we accomplished it, instead of putting it within the parking stall, we looked at ways to incorporate the impervious surface within the walkways where it would have less turnover. The turning movement, when you back in and out of a stall, that might work more so in a lot that has less turnover, but a public lot, I think you'd have a lot of turnover and you'd have a lot of maintenance. So we did look at it, but we were, and I also talked to the borough engineer about it, and she agreed that with the amount of turnover in the public lots might not be the best, but maybe a location with less turnover would work better.
Anybody else?
No, I just wanted to say it's very impressive, and I especially like public art. I think that's important, and the green space. So I'm looking forward to it. I think you've done a great job. Thank you.
And since this is a capital review, any members of the public have any questions?
I have a question there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't see you.
I apologize if I didn't catch it if you spoke about, what's the parking inventory going to look like? What's it now, and what will it look like after?
Sure. So basically, we broke it out by location to location. If you give me 1 second, I can give you the exact numbers. You want the exact numbers? Perfect.
I thought she said it was going to be an increase of 7, perhaps 4 more in addition to the 7.
Yep.
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. I can provide you the exact numbers as well. I was ready for every question, so you're right there with me. So in the existing condition, in English Plaza, there's 151 spaces. That's a combination of public and private spaces. In White Street, in the existing condition within our project area, there's 11 spaces. And in the White Street lot, within the project area, there's 18 spaces. So here's our increase. In English Plaza, we go up to 155. That's 4 extra spaces in English Plaza. On White Street, we stay exactly the same. We're closing the one entrance to the White Street lot up at the top, but then moving it, so we make up those spaces there. And then in the White Street lot, we actually gained 3 spaces. So there's a net increase of 7 spaces, and then if we were to go up near the theater area and where the firehouse is located, the old firehouse, if we were to add striping up there, although outside of the project area, we could get 4 to 5 more spaces up there. So that's why we said 7, but if we wanted to look at just restriping up White Street, we could probably add a few more spaces as well. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? If not, any members of the public have any questions on the project? Cindy,
I just have a
why
question.
don't you come up so we can get you on tape?
Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace Street. I just wondered if they, maybe I missed it, but did you ever take into consideration some kind of a shelter for the pay stations?
So we did look at shelters for the pay stations. Ultimately, for budget constraint reasons is the only reason we didn't include that, but we did look at that. It's something we could consider again, but for budget reasons was the only reason we didn't include that. But we did look at it. We just had to try to find ways to give and take, but to try to find ways to bring the budget down a little bit.
Yeah, the critical component here is the other aspect, which is the crosswalk on Front Street, and you did mention that, but I just want you to know that we've already reached out to the county, and what's critical from the borough standpoint is that the striping not only has to be clearly identifiable there, the lighting has to be increased, and most importantly, I see no reason why when yield and stop sign pedestrians in every other municipality in Bergen County and Hudson County and Essex have the solar lit flashing, why that cannot also be there. Because I'm telling you, at night, as we all know, it is very dangerous for pedestrians and motoring traffic to navigate that intersection, especially when there are cars that are parked illegally in the area that hopefully you're going to be eliminating by the bump outs. So this is all going to come together favorably in terms of the site distance. You still need the county's help, and I think that they will be on board, but I would prefer to see the flashing lights because you need the extra protection for residents and for pedestrians, especially at night. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stovall, and members of the board for being here. Yeah, you can take it back, it's yours. I'd like to move a matter that's on communications and petitions to suspended order of business. I know we have the illustrious, distinguished Mayor Benjamin Lucarelli here. He's looking around the room saying, who's here? And representing the Count Basie Theater on what I believe would be a rather perfunctory matter. It's a request from Count Basie Center for the Arts for permission to attach windscreens with graphics on the construction fences on the east and west sides of the theater. We've done this routinely. It is part of a construction site. So I think it's perfunctory, but Mr. Lucarelli, if you can be, sorry, Mayor Lucarelli.
Mayor, council, thank you for letting me in here. Really, I'm just seeking permission, windscreen graphics on the east and west side windscreens. On the east side, we'll be depicting what's going to happen on the east side of that building, west side, same thing. And then listing Count Basie Center for the Arts, the bank that's doing our financing, and some of our other fundraising we're getting.
Where's your name?
No. But I'm just seeking your permission. I think everybody received this PDF. If anybody wants it in color, great to have it.
I think everyone is very familiar with the site. We're all familiar with the property. Any questions by the members of the council? If not, consider it approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The graphic in the upper left-hand corner was the preservation sign for the
Yes.
New Jersey.
Motion? Second? All in favor? Done.
Abstain.
Yes, thank you.
You can go home, Ben.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to resume the regular order of business.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Okay, approval of the minutes for September 12th. Motion?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Do we have anything else for workshop? No? Okay. Mayoral appointments. I'm sorry. Yeah. We're going to hold the appointments until the ordinance is passed. Any members of the public have any comments on any ordinances or resolutions pursuant to the agenda this evening? If not, motion closed. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? We've already done communications and petitions on ordinances for first reading is ordinance 2018-27, a bond ordinance amending and supplementing bond ordinance 2017-21, adopted on July 26, 2017, and amended by the 2018-09 ordinance to increase the total appropriations from $825,000 to $1,004,000, and to increase the debt appropriation from $825,000 to $1.4, and to amend and supplement other provisions of the ordinance. Motion to introduce the bond ordinance. Second. Roll call?
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Yingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Ziprich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Horgan?
Yes.
All right, the ordinance is introduced, the public hearing will be on October 10th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. Ordinance 2018-28 is an ordinance that amends and supplements Chapter 490 of the Planning and Development Regulations relating to a green development checklist for the borough. This is part of a standard procedure which is best government practice adopted in most municipalities, and it comes at the recommendation of our environmental commission as well as our planner. Motion to introduce. So moved. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Yingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Ziprich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Horgan?
Yes.
The ordinance is introduced, it's going to have to be referred to the planning board. The public hearing will be on October 24th, 2018, because of the referral to the planning board at 6:30 p.m. Ordinance 2018-29, an ordinance that amends Chapter 680, Vehicles and Traffic, to include a new four-way stop intersection at the following addresses: Oakland Street and Pearl Street, East Bergen Place and South Street. Motion to introduce. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Ewingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Ziprich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Public hearing will be on October 10th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. Now,
Mayor, if I could, just for the council's benefit, there already is a four-way stop at Oakland and Pearl. That just updates the ordinance. The other one is new. It says new, they're going to do the ordinance, but I just want to let them know it's already a four-way stop at one. Sorry.
where? There's no four-way stop at Oakland and Pearl.
That's the message. Forgive me, there's a stop there, it's not an all-way stop.
Right.
The other one does not have any
Thank you for everyone that drives here for correcting that, I appreciate it. I'll hit Monmouth Street to 35 on the way out, I'll let you know if the light's still there.
I thought maybe I missed something, yeah. All right, I know that, yeah. Reports of mayor committee and council members. Wonderful last. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone. I have no report from the Finance Committee. I just wanted to briefly mention that September 15th, we did, Government Strategy Group did hold the Best Practices and Innovation Summit, well attended by our borough officials. The mayor was there, I was there, Eric Dingston was there. The ad was not only there, but was one of the thought leaders in one of the 4 breakout sessions. Pam was there, Eugenia, our CFO, Cliff King, Kathy. My apologies, Kathy led the Pledge of Allegiance. I have to repeat that, thank you.
And I remember
Am I forgetting
Our
anyone?
construction official was
The police chief was there.
The staff was there.
Yeah, no, I want to give them credit for being there and actually taking this seriously and want to improve our borough with these innovations. So I want to thank them. I will have a fuller report once I go through the amounts of literature I have at our next council meeting. That's it.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Mayor. First, I wanted to congratulate Cliff Keen and his wife on their newest arrival. They had another baby boy on Friday last week. Cliff also had brokered a shared service arrangement with the county to pull up the asphalt at Broad Street and West Front Street to fix a sinkhole that was created by a 6-inch terracotta main that separated, and Bobby Holiday came out in his pajamas, I think, that night to help repair all the county had dug up the road. And we got the separation repaired, and the county undertook the refilling and resurfacing. I just wanted to point that out because it was really a terrific collaborative effort on the part of Cliff and the county folks. He also secured the resurfacing of the heaped pavement in front of Riverside Gardens Park, and the combined effort saved us about $40,000 of expense that the borough doesn't have to expend. River Center is holding their annual Oyster Fest this weekend on Sunday. I just wanted to thank Jim and Laura and Eileen in advance of the event for all of their hard work in organizing and promoting this event. And I also wanted to give a special shout out to all the volunteers who have signed up to work at the festivals this weekend. So thank you all. The River Center Board met this morning at the hospital where we covered the strategic planning process. And the next public meeting in that process will be held on the 15th of October at 7 p.m. at the Two River Theater. So hopefully everybody will be able to attend that. River Center's board has also reviewed the great progress being made with the parking study, which has been undertaken by the borough and River Center and Walker Consultants. Monday's data gathering session was well attended, and I'm sure Councilman Ewingstrom will expound on that. But all of the one-on-one interviews are being held this week with Walker staffers and I had a really good interview with them this afternoon. I think they're doing a really great job. And lastly, the Red Bank Borough Education Foundation is holding its annual casino night on October 5th, and tickets are available through rbbeef.org. So buy tickets and come support the schools.
Thank you. Kathy?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a brief report on the library. There are brand new computers that are up and running, and wireless printing from your personal device is also available. These computers are the generous gift of an anonymous donor, so we're very thankful for that. The new seasonal story walk book is displayed at Riverside Gardens. Let's Talk About Race is actually taking place now at the library. This is a very popular program that has been going on for about 2 years now. And please follow the library on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few announcements for Parks and Rec. The Halloween movie night in the park is going to be on October 12th featuring Hotel Transylvania. That's going to start about 6:45 depending on darkness. The egg hunt is going to be on October 18th at 7 p.m. This is sponsored by the Red Bank Business Alliance, so it's no cost to the borough at all. The Halloween parade is going to be on October 21st. The lineup starts at 1 p.m. The parade will start at 2, and it's just a reminder that there's a new lineup location on Arthur Place and Irving Place this year. So letters will be distributed to the residents within the week before. With regard to the parking meeting, Walker Consultants, in conjunction with River Center, held a meeting on Monday night with great input from the residents and the business community. Right now, Walker Consulting is undertaking stakeholder interviews and they're starting their turnover counts. So they're in the midst of this study, and we can't wait to see the results of it. And finally, the Shade Tree Committee, I want to send that shout out to them because they did a great job. They applied for and received an urban and community forestry grant from the DEP for $30,000. This is going to allow the Shade Tree Committee to put together a reforestation, tree planting, and maintenance plan for the submission to the state. The grant is for planting 75 trees, which will either be planted in this fall or spring, depending on approval of the plan. The Shade Tree Committee and DPU will work together in implementing that plan, and the town is matching that grant through volunteer hours put in by the Shade Tree Committee and DPU hours in implementing and planting these trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. No report, but I want to also compliment Jackie's presentation. Actually, I met her a few weeks ago with Jim Scavone outside of Brook and Councilman Zipridge. They were actually out there during the day.
We were counting telephone.
Yep, counting telephone poles. JCP and I was there, but there was, all the key players in that project were actually out during the day, surveying the area, looking at everything. So I just was getting my morning coffee, going to work, and you had everybody spending the day on this project. So it's nice to see it finally happening, and thank you to all players involved.
Thank you, Michael. Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. Also be brief. Two announcements from the EC. We hosted the Monmouth County Hub meeting for Green Teams and Environmental Commission from around the county last night here. This was facilitated by Sustainable Jersey, and also our county planners attended that meeting. It's really a good start in connecting the work we're doing in our different communities as we look forward to hosting the second round in October. As I mentioned, at the last council meeting, we received the technical assistance grant from through our Sustainable Jersey efforts, and we had a conference call on Monday related to that effort, and we're planning a site visit here to the town with some of the key players to identify some targeted locations for some of the improvements that will be described as a part of that grant. So I'll have more updated as probably the next council.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, let's go back to ordinances for public hearing and final adoption. Ordinance 2018-23 is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 9, Article 7 of the Human Relations Advisory Committee that amends and provides for the appointment of alternate members that were not contained in the original ordinance when adopted. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any members of the public wish to address the council on this ordinance? If not, motion to close. One more. Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? It's adopted. Ordinance 2018-26, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of 2 easements affecting Block 71, Lot 5 from the Board of Education of the Borough of Red Bank for the purpose of constructing an emergency access drive and water main. This is at the primary school. This is the project we've been collaboratively working with the Board of Education for a number of years. Any members of the public wish to address the council? Dr. Rummage?
So Mayor and Council, I just wanted to thank you for your consideration of this resolution. We're super excited about this opportunity and our partnership and the safety that it will improve down at the Red Bank Primary School for our students and our families and our residents. Very exciting moment for us, and we look forward to making that school the best it can be for our community. So thank you for your consideration.
And water flow.
Yes.
We're all on the same page.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other members of the council? Public? If not, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second. Since it's an ordinance concerning property, roll call, please.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Newstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Ziprich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan? Yes.
All right, now that ordinance 2018-23 has been adopted, I'd like to move for appointment the following individuals as alternate members of the Human Relations Advisory Committee. They are Ashley Taylor as a regular member for an unexpired term, 12/31/2020, and Liam Jones as alternate number 1 for an unexpired term to 12/31/2018. Motion.
So
Confirmed. Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now we go to resolutions 18-30, for resolution on... Well, unless there's any objection, we have resolutions 18-230, 231, 232, 233. These are perfunctory resolutions. 234, which are grant applications to DOT. So any objection to moving those resolutions by consent? Okay, motion? Second?